started, and welcome once again to the WordPress Meetup group, WPMIA. No new happening really in WordPress recently. 3.5 is set to be released. They're going to be updating the media, the way media works, and a couple of bug fixes and cool stuff. Today's meetup is all about SEO. We always talk about it in some small sense every time we do a presentation, but we're actually going to do the full presentation today. My friend Yevgeny here is going to talk about plugin strategy, link building, and the whole shebang as far as what you should be doing with your WordPress site for search engine optimization. And with no further ado, here he is.
All right. Thank you and welcome. So today's presentation is WordPress SEO for beginners. So we're going to cover a variety of topics. So WordPress SEO, what is it? So there's two parts. For SEO, there's two parts. It's like two sides of a coin. There's on-site SEO and there's off-site SEO. So on-site is everything with WordPress and everything inside your site. Off-site is a whole link building process. It's a whole other aspect. It's a whole other concept that has multiple different parts. So it is just SEO is just way too vast to cover in just a short amount of time. Today we're just going to briefly go over WordPress SEO and everything that's on-site and how to optimize your website. Because at the end of the day, we're business owners, so your website sells your products and services. And you want people coming up and finding your website that don't know about it yet. For most business owners, what happens? They have a website, the only people that go to their site are the people that get their business card and they go to their site some other day or through a friend. Or, I mean, it's really hard to find a website that is non-existent on Google. And you just need to put yourself in front of that traffic. Like, for instance, this store. This store is right in front of a heavy traffic area, so a lot of eyes can see it. So if this store was behind a couple other stores, then you just would not be able to see this cafe. So you want to place yourself in front of traffic. So literally and physically. So there's two sides. And if done right, if you do your WordPress SEO right, sometimes you get results within a week. Sometimes you'll get, depending on the competition of the niche and the complexity of that keyword or how many searches are for that keyword per month, then you'll sometimes be able to see results in you showing up in the first page within a week of finishing optimizing your WordPress website. So, and then there'll be a couple of more keywords trickling in, but you're not going to get everything that you want to get unless you're using both of these sides together into one integrated campaign. So, your WordPress SEO, let's get started. So, where do we start with WordPress SEO, right? We start with themes, we start with websites. And there's so many different themes, all kinds of different bells and whistles and gadgets and all kinds of stuff. So, you know, how do you know which one is good? How do you know which one is bad? And not all WordPress themes are equal. They're not all the same. They're not. And just because of a theme that looks pretty does not mean that it's actually functioning correctly in the back end. A clean website also needs clean code. So your code in the back end has to be done the right way. And it's got to be placed the right way so your site loads quickly. Because once you start adding pages to your WordPress website, you start getting 20, 30, 40, 50 pages, 100 pages, 500 pages. I've even seen a couple thousand. The more bells and whistles, the more of these widgets, the more of these plugins you have on your site, the slower it's going to perform. And that's just a fact, because WordPress really is not just a site, it's an application, it's like a software. So, you know, if it's a large software, you know, the download is just going to be, you know, super slow. So it's the same for people. So there's several ways of going about fixing this. So if you already have a website right now, what can you do? Okay, you can either switch to a new theme, so you have to migrate. The second option is to clean up the code that you already have. It's very expensive. Third option is just use a WordPress Supercache plugin. It's very simple. All it does is just saves your whole copy of your website and loads it up to people. No matter how big it is, you can really use it for small business owners. That's just a quick way to fix this. So,
could you repeat that last one that you just mentioned?
Oh yeah. So, by the way, if you have a question, you can just write it down, and I'll answer all questions after. So, you can use WordPress Supercache plugin to serve up a copy of your website to every single visitor that is going to your site, because they don't have to download it anymore. So that's just a way to fix slow loading time and lack of performance. So, because what you want to do is you want to pay attention to your SEO quality score. Your quality score is made up of several different factors. It's the age of your domain, how old is it, your domain, your authority, how many links are pointing to it, and as well as loading time. So there's a bunch of other factors, but loading time is one of them. So if your site is loading slow, remember Google is in the business of serving up a listing to somebody who's looking for it, and that person clicks and they go to your site and they want to make sure that your site loads fast. Because if it's not loading fast, it's not making Google look that good. So they'll just replace you with a better listing. So where do you start with SEO? Well, you always start with keyword research. You want to aim before you shoot, not the other way around. Most people just can't wait to get to the shooting part, and they don't aim, so they end up wasting their money, wasting their budget, and wasting time. So how do you figure out which keywords are good for you? Because every business here is totally different. Each person here is a totally different niche. Each niche has its own competitors. So how do you, each niche has a pool of keywords that you can target. So some niches are bigger than others. For instance, Comcast got a giant niche, or how about Bahamas Weddings got a small niche. So if you know your niche, if you know your consumer, who's the person who's going to buy your products and services you're trying to sell? Who is this person? And how will they find you? What kind of keywords are they going to use to get to your website? Because they have never met you before, they don't know your site, your name, nothing. All they know is what they need. So look at your competitors, find your competitors. Who are the top dogs in this niche? There's a couple. There's always a couple. Every niche got them. So it does not mean that you can't get them. It does not mean that you can't top them. A lot of these competitors, they're up there by default. They're not even doing SEO correctly. And if you're doing SEO correctly, you're just gonna push them right down. It's just the problem is nobody's doing it. So it's early. So the rules have changed. As of last May, Google's changed things around. So now the rules have changed, and the playing field is level, and everybody gets a fresh start. But the countdown has begun. So people are doing it as we speak. So create a master list of all your keywords. So you may have 50 keywords in your niche. You may have 1,000. I've even seen, for instance, Comcast got like 50,000. So I used to do SEO for Comcast, so I know. And they have a giant list, all kinds of with keywords that are being searched from 5,000 to 10,000 per month, to 30,000 per month. And then some on the long tail, they're like 20 people a month, 50 people a month. So you want to be able to target all of those. Just get a giant list and put them all together. You can use Scribe WordPress plugin to help you do that, but I would use Google AdWords keyword research tool. So when you're designing your site, so no matter what kind of business you're in or what you're selling or buying, you have to sit down and organize your products and services into categories. You have to make them, because you want to build out your site. So as you can see here, your site, a typical website's got about 4 tiers. So you don't want to go much deeper than that. So 0 is your home page. 1 is your main top-level pages, which are your services pages. Then if you want to break them down even further, then into sub-services or products that you're selling, then you create the whole 3rd tier. And then this last tier right here, that is for blogs. That's for your long-tail keywords. Those keywords that are for 50 people a month, 20 people a month. So you want to use your best keywords at the top for your home page. So you have to define your business. If you don't know what you're selling, how does anybody know? So if you sit down, organize all your products and services to categories on a piece of paper, and then you set up your site the right way, then you understand what you're selling. And then when the person does come to your website, they'll understand as well. And Google actually rewards people for doing so. And Google knows everything. So this is called siloing. When you're siloing out your content, you're separating it the right way. You don't want to just put everything on one page. So each page you want to assign one keyword per page. The more pages you have, the wider your net is. So it's like going fishing. If you have a big net, you're going to catch possibly a lot of fish. So you have a small net, you're not going to catch that much fish. So you always want to grow your net. It's ever evolving. And you can use, how do you set up your URL structure? You just name your page, anything you want, whatever makes sense to you. What do you think about the person who's going to visit? So your URL example.com/keyword. That's how it should be. It should be keyword is right next to the domain, not example.com/blah blah blah /blah blah blah /keyword. You want to get as close as possible to your domain. So closer as your keyword is in your URL structure, the better it is. So that's just one factor. And you can use several plugins to help you do this. For instance, WordPress no category based, WordPress no tag based. By default, WordPress will give you, when you set up a blog and then post, they'll give you a category. It'll be like example.com/category/post name. But that category, sometimes the word actual category, you just don't want it there. So this plugin will get rid of that. Same with tag. You don't want the word tag in there. You just want keywords. So this is how you set up your site, no matter what you do. Now, on-page SEO. What is the ideal way to optimize your page by page basis? So when you have a bunch of pages in your website, assign one keyword to each page. That is the keyword that's going to be associated with that page. That is the door number to that door. The more of these doors that you have, the more possibilities of you getting listed on different keywords on Google. So, it's good to have lots of pages, but they just have to make sense, because if they're very thin on content, that's not going to be good. So you want to make sure that it makes sense to you and to the robots, because your website is not just for humans, it's also for robots. And so it's for two, so it's a constant balance. So yeah, you want to name it keywords, but as you can see, for instance, with this one, we have chocolate donuts for this page. You want to put example.com/chocolate donuts. You want to put a little hyphen there. That's the page. That's your keyword in there, inside the URL. So you want to put it in the page title. In the page title, in your headline, chocolate donuts from Mary's Bakery. You want to keep this chocolate donuts right in front of it, in the beginning of this title. Then you also want to put it inside your image. If you put a little chocolate donut image in there, name it chocolate donuts as well in your alt. And in the body. So how many keywords do we put? How many? With keyword density? What's over stuffing? Keyword stuffing. So you want to make it natural, because before, about a year ago, maybe even later, you could just stuff your page with keywords and you were ranking. Now what happened with Penguin is now everybody got punished, because everybody was stuffing the keywords and they were getting all these rankings, and they were taking advantage of Google and the users just to get their results. That's no longer working anymore. So you'll basically get no effect. So what you want to do is you want to put about one keyword for every 100 words. 1%. That's 1% keyword density. So really, if you just wrote the article naturally, just make sure the keyword is there. First, you want to write it naturally, just how you would for the user, and then put the keyword in the right place.
One keyword for every 100?
Yeah, one keyword for every 100. And you can do also, for instance, we have chocolate donuts. You can put donuts. You can put chocolate donuts again, donuts, chocolate, and then different variations of that one. So altogether, so it's natural. You don't put chocolate donuts, chocolate. You don't put chocolate donuts everywhere. Make sure that you put, it's got to be natural. Remember, SEO, really what we're doing is just we're fabricating organic, natural way of making sites.
It's like regular organic. It's
fabricated. But it's not really, because you want to make sure you have valuable content in there that makes sense, and it should make sense.
Does it help anymore to emphasize, like make it bold?
Yes. You also want to put one bold keyword in there. Towards the end of the page, somewhere in the middle. Bold is good. It helps. All these things together really add up. So that would be like a small thing, and then with all these small things, it really add up to effect. Because when Google sends robots, little crawlers to your website, it scans the whole thing. It scans everything. It's constantly scanning all the websites. It's almost like a loading bar. It's constantly loading to 100%, and it starts all over again through all these websites. And depending how frequently you update your website, that's how frequently they send the crawlers to check it out. So if you're updating your site all the time with new keywords and new stuff, then it will be sending robots there to check out your site more frequently. And you want to use Yoast SEO or WordPress plugin. Nothing new, but this plugin is very good. It's very effective. It's like 10 plugins in one. It does a bunch of things for you. And really, you want to stay away from too many plugins. They slow down your site. So if there's one plugin that is well-written code, and you want to make sure that Yoast is, because the guy is actually
better than all-in-one SEO?
way better. Yes, way better.
Yeah.
Yoast, he's actually a developer himself. He does like presentations. The guy, he knows what he's doing, and he's got his own website, and he's been doing different, he does consulting and Google and everything. So Yoast is good, very good. So
That are paid, or
No,
is
it's
it free?
free.
it's free.
It's free. Yep.
So ongoing website SEO. So once you have set up your base, your site, your main pages, your main services, your main products, a website is never actually finished. It never is. Maybe you could launch it, but then it's never really finished. It's a constant work in progress. Constantly changing things here, adding content there. So what you want to do is you want to keep adding content. You want to keep it fresh. So as you can see in this HubSpot, we did a study, the more you have blog posts, the more frequently they have, the higher traffic you get. So the more of these doorways that you get to your site, the more ways people can find you. And there's just no way around it, but a stale website isn't going to get you anywhere, maybe for a little short while, but once Google sees that you're not really updating it, that you've deserted it, then it's going to desert you too. So, so what you want to do is you want to expand on your categories, expand on your keywords. So that's why you want to know your entire keyword list, your master list. Because once you have your master list, then you just write content for those keywords, or something similar. Maybe then add a whole new category with a whole new aspect, and a whole new niche. Get a whole new section of your website, just new category, and write new stuff there. As long as you're selling something. So you can use, when you're doing all this content, you want to make sure that you're linking inside, because you're not just linking with backlinks from other places. Your links are within your site. So you want to use this plugin called WordPress Smart Links. They actually have a Smart Links Plus as well. There's two different ones. So you can use that one or that one, whichever. But basically, you just put a little keyword in the back options, and it makes a link to your entire website with that keyword every time